Hey everyone, my name is Heidi Young. I am Rick Pettigrew's daughter, for those of you that don't know me. And my dad asked me a few days ago if I would tell a story of my experience when I was over in Ireland and saw something that was incredibly impactful to me. So we had spent a few weeks with some friends touring Ireland. We'd gone all around the country and just explored various castles and landmarks and even old graveyards and just the amazing countryside that it had to offer. So after we were almost complete with the 2 weeks of vacation, we ended up in Dublin, Ireland, and one of the landmarks that we really wanted to see was this old church called Christ Church. There's a photo of it here. This church is probably about 1,500 years old. It is a working church, but it just is a obviously beautiful building with architecture and history. You can see from the church here, this I believe is where the main chapel is. There is a walkway over an active road that goes here, so you can walk across it. You can actually drive under it, and then you have more of the church or possibly abbey, whatever it might have been used for in this way. So we had probably spent a good hour just touring around the church and just really appreciating every aspect of it, just the history and just marveling at the beauty of it. This is going around the side of the building. So we had been in this spot here, and now we're walking around the building. And as we were leaving, the rest of my friends were in front of me, and I had kind of turned back just to see, one more view of it from a different angle. And I happened to notice this bench here that had what looked to be a person sleeping on it. And it caused me to do a double take. And I stared at it for a few minutes, trying to wonder, what is this? What am I seeing? Is there an actual person there, or is it, perhaps a statue? But it definitely caught my attention and drew me towards it. So as I began walking up to it, um, you can see a couple different angles of it from here. As I began walking up to it, I could see that it was an actual statue or a bronzed image, and it looked to be a homeless person that was draped in a blanket, just sleeping there quietly on the bench. As you can see, nobody was around. It just was very peaceful and serene, but it just captured my attention because it didn't make sense why this was there. And my mind is going to, what story are they trying to tell with this statue? Are they saying that they are friendly to the homeless? Are they wanting to embrace people and let them know that anybody is welcome, that we have a safe place for anybody? What is this art trying to tell this story of? So I got closer to it, and as you can see, it is a figure completely draped in a robe. There is nothing distinguishable about it, but just fascinating. And so I bent down to look at the face. This is just another angle of it here. But as I bent down to look to see what was under this hood, you can see it really is nothing. You might be able to see possibly a mouth and a chin. It could just be, you know, somebody just draped in blankets, but nothing distinguishable here. So I sat back up, and then all of a sudden I saw the feet. And when I looked at the feet and saw the piercings in the nails of his feet, I realized this is Jesus. And I just was absolutely overcome with emotion and awe that here was Jesus draped in a blanket like a homeless person, very nondescript. My friends had walked by. I had almost walked by, but something compelled me to go back and to take a closer look. And as I did, I was able to see that here was Jesus. He could have easily been passed by. He could have not been noticed at all. In fact, you can see he's not noticed by a lot of people. And I think that this was the story of why they put him here. It was to see who would take the time to stop and notice him, and to not only see him from afar, because I couldn't tell it was him from afar, but I had to get close and I had to actually take the time to look at all the details and examine him to realize this is Jesus. He's laying here like a homeless person. And how many times is he in our presence and we just walk on by and we don't even notice? And it was the most impactful piece of art I had ever seen in my life, because there was just so much analogy and stories that you could pull from it. There was so much emotion. I literally knelt down and just was bawling because it was just incredibly meaningful to me that I had been able to even see that, and that something there had drawn me to there, to go and inspect it closer. And I could have just walked on by and thought, huh, that's interesting, and left it at that. And I was so very grateful that I took the time to go out of my way to walk around off the beaten path and be able to have this moment and this experience. I called my friends back, and I told them, I'm like, look, you guys, it's Jesus. He's right here. We could have missed this. And it just was a reminder. I literally cry every time I think of this story or this picture or tell this story, because it's just a reminder to me to stop and pay attention, and that Jesus is near me, and I just have to remember to be looking for him. And he can be the person in the homeless shelter or on the bench asking for food, or he can be somebody that comes and gives you a blessing that you didn't even know that was possible. So that's my story, and I hope you all were able to really take something out of it the way I did. Just an absolutely beautiful statue.